everybody. So today I will be discussing about the bottom-up parsers. Fine. So in the previous session, we have already seen what are the different types of parsers. The parsers are basically categorized into two types. One is the bottom-up parser and the other is the top-down parser. And again, in the top-down parsers, you have two different types, one with the backtracking and the other with the which does not employ the concept of backtracking. Okay. And coming to the bottom-up parsers, we have different types. These bottom-up parsers are also called as shift-reduced parsers, and the most familiar bottom-up parser or a shift-reduced parser is the LR parser. So here you can see what exactly is the difference between a bottom-up parser and a top-down parser. So in the previous sessions, you have seen the LL1 predictive parser. So what are the prerequisites for an LL1 or a top-down parser is your grammar must not be ambiguous, your grammar should not have left recursion, and your grammar must be left factored. Okay, so that's where those were the three prerequisites for the top-down parsing. So coming to the bottom-up parsing, the bottom-up parsers only have one prerequisite, that is the grammar should not be ambiguous, but the grammar can have left recursion and need not be left factored. Okay, so what is the main difference between a bottom-up parser and a top-down parser? In a top-down parser, the parse tree is constructed starting from the root node and goes down the leaf node. Okay, but in case of a bottom-up parser, if you see here, the first point says the bottom-up parsers are built from the leaves and they move up towards the root node. That's the main difference. Okay, so there in the top-down parser, the grammar is taken and based upon the input string, you are going to come down to the leaf level. But in case of a bottom-up parser, you are taking the input string and based upon the string, considering the grammar, you are going to reduce and you are moving up towards the root node. So that is the main difference between a bottom-up parser and a top-down parser. Okay. So the bottom-up syntax analysis is also known as shift-reduced parsing. Fine. The other name given to a bottom-up parser is nothing but a shift-reduced parser. Fine. And how about the LL1 parser? I think you have already seen in the previous session in the LL1 parser. What does that LL mean? It is leftmost derivation and left associative. That is starting from the leftmost symbol, you are moving towards the right hand side. Okay. But in case of a bottom-up parser, it is rightmost derivation of the given input in reverse order. That is, what do you mean by reverse order? Reverse order is you are moving from the leaf node and going up towards the root node, and it is the rightmost derivation. This is the second difference between a top-down parsing and a bottom-up parsing. The very first difference is the top-down parser constructs the parse tree from the root node and goes to the leaf node. And a bottom-up parser starts from the leaf node and moves up to the root node. Fine. And the second difference is it is leftmost derivation, and here it is rightmost derivation in reverse order. Okay. Hope it is clear to you the main differences between a top-down parser and a bottom-up parser. So for a top-down parser, the grammar should not be ambiguous. Fine. It should not have left recursion and the grammar must be left factored. But for a bottom-up parser, the grammar need not be ambiguous. It should not be ambiguous, but it can have left recursion and it not be left factored. So the next slide shows what are the different types of bottom-up parsers that are available. So here, bottom-up parsers are LR parsers. LR parsers are also called as shift-reduced parsers. Okay, because in the later topics we'll see why exactly it is called as shift-reduced parser. Why is a bottom-up parser called as shift-reduced parser? The most common type of shift-reduced or a bottom-up parser is LR of 0 parser, which is there in your syllabus. And then you have SLR, LALR and CLR, which are more powerful parsers compared to LR parser, but it is not there in your syllabus because it is very complex to construct a automata. Okay, so in your syllabus, you have just your basic shift-reduced parser. That is how a shift-reduced parsing happens. And then the very first type of parser, which is the LR0 parser. Okay, so LR is left to right and rightmost derivation, and SLR is simple LR. Okay, LALR is look ahead LR parsers, and CLR is canonical LR parsers. Okay, so this is the hierarchy of your LR parsers or the bottom up parsers. Bottom up parsers are also called as shift reduce parsers, and these parsers are categorized into 4 different types. One is the LR of 0, SLR, LALR, and CLR. So we have only the LR0 parser, and we are not going to study about the SLR of 1, LALR, and CLR because these are all more complex and powerful parsers. Coming to the introduction to the bottom-up parsers. Okay. So the bottom-up parsers are also called as shift-reduce parsers, as I said. Okay. And the most common type of shift-reduce parser is the LR parser, LR of 0 parser. What does that L and R mean? L stands for left associativity. That is, start from the leftmost symbol and reach the right symbol in the input. Okay. And R stands for construct the parse tree in the rightmost derivation in reverse order. As I said, reverse order is start from the leaf node and move up towards the root node. Okay. And the third point here clearly says that bottom-up parsing is also known as shift-reduce parsing because it performs only 2 operations. The bottom-up parsers perform only 2 operations. One is shift operation and the other is the reduce operation. Okay. Now we'll see what are the different data structures that are used in case of a shift-reduce parser. So shift, you have already seen in LL1 parser that you need a buffer, you need a stack. Okay, fine. The same data structures are also used in case of a bottom-up parser or a shift-reduce parser. So a shift-reduce parser uses 2 different data structures. One is the stack and the other is the input buffer. Why stack is required? Stack is required for storing and accessing the production rules. Stack is used for storing and accessing the production rules. And why you need the input buffer? Input buffer is used for storing the input string, the string that you want to parse. Where it is stored? It is stored in the input buffer. Okay, and from the string you are moving up towards the root node. Okay, so how do you move up towards the root node? Until you come across the start symbol of the grammar, you are going to keep on parsing in the reverse order. Okay, so where do you place these grammar symbols, the LHS or the RHS of the grammar? These symbols are stored on the stack. Hope it is clear. So input buffer, the 2 different data structures used in shift reduce parsers are stack and input buffer. Why we need stack? Stack is used for storing the LHS and RHS of the production rules. And input buffer is used for storing the input string that you are supposed to parse, which is represented by W. Fine. Now this shift reduce parser has got 4 different operations that are taking place. The shift reduce parser employs 4 different operations. Let us see what are these 4 different operations. The 4 basic operations that are carried out by the shift reduce parser are shift, reduce, accept, and error. So you must have already come across the terms push and pop. Push and pop are with respect to the stack, right? So one of the data structure that is used in the shift reduce parser is a stack. So putting anything onto the stack is called as shift, and removing anything or reducing or replacing the RHS to LHS on the stack is called as the reduce. You can relate the shift and reduce operation to push and pop operation of the stack. Shifting is moving a symbol from input buffer onto the stack is called as shift operation. And reduce is replacing that input symbol, a non-terminal with a terminal with a non-terminal symbol is called as a reduce operation. So where are the shift and reduce operations taking place? These 2 operations, the shift and the reduce, are taking place on the stack. So shift is, you have 2 data structures. One data structure is your input buffer and the other data structure is the stack. So input buffer is used to store the input string that you are supposed to pass, and stack is the data structure which is used to replace these terminal symbols with non-terminal symbols or the LHS and RHS of the production rules, right? So shift operation is from input buffer, the string, you are moving on to the stack. This operation is called as shift operation. Moving a string or a substring from a symbol from an input buffer to the stack is called as the shift operation. And these symbols must be replaced with the production rules, on the stack. This operation is called as the reduce. The substring that you are replacing on the stack top is called as the handle. The substring that you are replacing by a non-terminal symbol is called as a handle, which is given here. So the definition of the reduce says that replace the handle on top of the stack by the non-terminal till error occurs or start symbol remains on the stack. Fine. So first you are moving the input string from the buffer to the stack, and on the stack you are trying to find out the non-terminal for that equivalent substring, and replacing that is called as the reduce operation. So once you are doing the shift and reduce operation, at some point of time what happens is the input buffer becomes empty and the stack will have the start symbol. Okay, when you keep on shifting and reducing, at some point of time when the string is valid, then the input buffer becomes empty and the stack top will have the start symbol. When you have such a scenario, then it is called as accept. Okay, shift is moving a symbol from input buffer onto the stack top. Reducing is if a substring matches with the RHS of the production, replace it with the LHS of the production. This is called as reduce operation. And if you keep on doing this and reduce operations, what happens at some point of time, your input buffer becomes empty and your stack top will have the stack symbol. When this is the scenario, then you're done with the successful parsing, and that condition is called as accept. And you're keeping on doing the shift and reduce operation, but still either your input buffer is not empty or your stack top is not having the start symbol, then you have not parsed the input string correctly. That is, it is an error. When you cannot parse a string properly, then either your input buffer will still have some of the symbols, the strings, or your stack will not have the start symbol on its stack top. Then such scenario is considered as an error. Okay, so repeating again, the bottom-up parser or the parser has got four basic operations, performs four basic operations. What are those four basic operations? Shift. Shift is moving a symbol from the input buffer onto the stack is called as shift operation. Reduce is you are going to replace the terminal symbol with a non-terminal, or a substring is replaced by an LHS of the production rule. This is called as reduce. And once you keep on performing the shift and reduce operation, at some point of time, the stack will have the start symbol on its top and the input buffer will become empty. Such scenario is called as an accept state, and then you call it as successful parsing. Okay. In case if either the stack is not having the start symbol or the input buffer is not having is still having some more symbols, then parsing has not taken place completely. So in the previous slide, I was telling the reduce operation is to replace the handle with the RHS. Fine. So what is exactly handle? Handle is to replace the top of the stack with the production's body, the substring. The substring of the actual input string is replaced with the production body. That is the LHS of the production is called as handle. And the entire process is called as handle pruning. The meaning of pruning is trimming. The meaning of pruning is trimming. That is, you're trying to trim the terminals with the non-terminals to get your start symbol. To get your start symbol, you're trying to prune the handle, and it is the entire task is called as the handle pruning. So here I have taken an example for the handle and handle pruning operation. Okay, so this is your grammar. This grammar is an unambiguous grammar. Fine. And it is having left recursion. As I told you, you need not worry about the left recursion and left factoring in case of bottom-up parsers. Only prerequisite is your grammar should be unambiguous. Okay. So now if I take this grammar and an input string here, ID1 into ID2, ID1 into ID2, okay. So which is the first terminal symbol that is present in this entire string? This is your W, ID1 into ID2 I want to parse, which is a substring that matches the production rule here. It is ID1. ID1 is going to become the handle because I cannot directly match ID1 into ID2 with the production rule that is given as part of the grammar. Okay. Only one input I can take, that is a substring of the entire string I can take, and I can match it with the production rule because ID, F derives or F produces ID. So ID is the handle. ID is the handle. It is a substring of the given string which matches with the production rule or the production body. Hope it's clear now what is meant by handle. So you don't have the entire string matching with the entire production rule, ID1 into ID2. You don't have F derives ID1 into ID2. It is only one identifier. Okay. So substring is called as the handle here. ID1, F derives ID1. So ID1 is the handle here. So instead of ID1, I am reducing it to F. Reducing is replacing the handle with the non-terminal. Okay, replacing the handle with the non-terminal symbol or the left-hand side of the production. Fine. ID1, because F derives ID, I am replacing ID with or reducing ID to F. Okay. Next, what's the next symbol that I have? I have F star ID2. Do I have a production rules here? F star ID in the grammar here? I don't have. So what I'll do is I'll take a substring that matches with the given input, okay, or the given grammar. So which is the substring that matches? It is only ID2. Again ID. And ID is again F derives ID. So before that, is F matching a production rule in the grammar here? Yes. F can still be reduced to T because T derives F. ID, F derives ID. You're reducing ID to F, and then T derives F, and you're reducing F to T, and now that's done. You don't have any production rules in the grammar, given grammar, to reduce T star ID. Okay, so only a part of this input string matches the production rule, which is that part ID. So again, I'm taking ID, reducing it to F. Okay, now what string I'm having? T into F. Do I have a production rule for T into F? Do I have a LHS for T into F? Yes. What is the LHS for T into F? It is T. Okay, so this is just an example for the handle, and I'm not completely parsing here. In the last column, it is the complete parsing that is happening. Okay, so this is just an example for the handle. Fine. Here I have taken an example. I've taken an example to design a shift reduce parser for the string ID plus ID into ID. Okay. So we'll start with this example now. Fine. So what are the four different operations that are performed by a parser, top-down parser, bottom-up parser?
Shift, reduce, accept,
Yes,
error.
it is shift, reduce, accept, and error. Okay. So what is meant by shift? Shift is
Push.
you basically have two different data structures. One is the stack and the other is the input buffer. Why do you need an input buffer? Input buffer is used to store the input string. Okay. And input string that has to be parsed, and stack is used to push or shift the symbols onto it. Okay, you're going to shift the symbols onto the stack, and then only you're going to perform a reduce operation. Okay, so for performing a shift reduce parser, or if you want to parse a string using a shift reduce parser, you need two data structures. One is stack for shift for reducing and input buffer for shifting. And whether you are performing a shift operation or a reduce operation is denoted in the action part. Okay, so you can copy down this. So what is a string that is given to parse? It is the string that is given to parse is id plus id into id, and the end of the string is denoted with the dollar symbol. The end of the string is denoted with the dollar symbol. Fine. And now the first operation is shift operation. Shift operation is taking one symbol from the input buffer and moving, taking one symbol from the input buffer and moving it to the stack top. Okay. So initially the stack top will be a dollar symbol, which means an empty stack, and you are going to shift one symbol onto the stack top. Which symbol is there on the leftmost side or on the at the beginning of the input buffer? It is id. So you are going to shift id. When I say shift id, where are you shifting the id? The id is shifted onto the stack top. The id is shifted onto the stack top, and then in the input buffer you are left with plus id star id and the end of the input string. Okay, you are done with the shift operation. So what are you shifting? You are shifting one symbol at a time from input buffer onto the stack top. Okay, so that action, whatever you are performing, that action is mentioned in the last column as either shift or reduce. Now once you have shifted, check, this is the handle now. Whatever is there on the stack top is called as the handle. Is it having a production rule? Is id having a production rule in the grammar?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
F derives
What is the
id.
production rule? F derives id. So what are you doing is you are reducing it. Reduce F derives id. So what happens to the stack top now? What happens to the stack top? id is reduced
Opt.
with F.
2F.
id is reduced with F. Okay. Action is what you are performing. Okay. But what is happening is only between the stack and the input buffer. So in the beginning, you took only one symbol, which is id, and shifted onto the stack top. You shifted onto the stack top. Okay. And now after shifting onto the stack top, you are checking if there is a production for this substring or not. Yes, you have a production rule, which is F derives id. So what are you doing? You are reducing that id to F. You are reducing that id to F, and you are having, what is there on the input buffer? On the input buffer, you still have plus id into id followed by the dollar symbol. Can you further reduce F?
Yes, T
Can
derives
you
F.
further reduce F? Yes, I can still further reduce F to T because I have a production. Reduce T derives F. Okay, so F can be further reduced to T. Okay, so what are the contents of the input buffer? Still, I have not done any shifting here. I have not done any shifting. So still my input buffer will have plus id into id and then dollar. Okay, can I still reduce T?
Yes, ma'am.
Do I
E
have a
derives T.
production?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have a production. E derives E plus T or T. Okay, so I have a production for E derives T. So I can still reduce the production T to E. E derives T. So I am going to reduce this to E. Okay, I have not shifted any or symbols onto the stack top. This remains same. Done. Can I further reduce E to some other symbol?
No, ma'am.
I cannot reduce. Okay, so what I'll have to do now? I'll have to perform a shift operation. Okay, which is a symbol that I have to shift. I can
Plus.
shift only one symbol at a time.
Plus.
I can only shift one symbol at a time, and I'm shifting plus. When I shift plus, what is there on the stack top now? Stack top has E and plus.
Plus.
Okay, and the input buffer plus I have already moved. I only have ID into ID followed by dollar. Now, do I have a production rule for reducing E and plus alone?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, I don't have any production rules. I don't have any RHS which has got E and plus. Okay, I don't have any production rules which has got E and plus, so I cannot reduce it. So if I cannot reduce, what I'll have to do? I'll have
Shift
to
ID.
shift one symbol onto the stack top. Okay, so which is the next symbol that is present? It is only ID. So shift ID onto the stack top. Now what will be the contents of the stack top?
Star
Stack
ID.
top will have E plus ID. E plus ID, and input buffer, since I've shifted ID, input buffer will have only star and ID followed by dollar. Okay, now check the stack top. Okay, what's the stack top having? ID. Can I reduce ID to any other symbol?
F.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I can reduce it to F. I can reduce it to F. Okay, so this is going to become the handle. ID is going to become the handle. What is handle? Any substring that matches the production rule. Okay, ID is a substring which matches the production rule. F derives ID. So what I do is I reduce F derives ID. So here dollar E plus F. ID is reduced to F. Okay, I have not shifted any symbols from the input buffer to the stack top, so this remains as it is. Now tell me, can I reduce
F.
anything? Can I reduce any
Yes, ma'am.
symbol?
F.
Check the stack
can
top.
reduce
What is
F.
the symbol on the stack top? F. Can I reduce F?
Yes, ma'am.
I can reduce. You have a production, T derives F. You have a production, T derives F. So I can reduce F to T. Okay, so I'll replace T with F. Okay, my input buffer still has star ID because I have not shifted, I'm just reducing. Now, do I have a symbol which reduces E plus T?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
but
E
I don't
derives.
want.
E.
Okay, should I reduce now to E? What will happen if I reduce to E? What will happen if I reduce to E? I'm getting the start symbol. I'm getting the start symbol. But how about the input buffer? I still have strings. I still have symbols on the input buffer.
Ma'am, if we are
Okay.
getting start symbol, then
Then you'll have to stop parsing. Okay, then it will become an error. Okay, so what is the error condition? Error condition is two possibilities. The stack top will have the start symbol, but still the input buffer will have some more symbols. Okay, that is one scenario. And the second scenario is the input buffer will be empty and the stack top will not have the start symbol. Okay, two scenarios. Stack top will have the start symbol. Input buffer will have some more symbols in it. Then it is error.
Even T should not
Okay.
reduce to E, no, ma'am.
No, fine. That's fine, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
That's fine. Okay. So if you reduce E plus T to E, what is happening? You are getting the start symbol. But have you passed all the input strings?
No,
No. Right. So what you'll have to do is you don't reduce it to E. Okay. You don't reduce it to E. Instead, you shift the next symbol onto the stack top. Shift. What's the next symbol? Star. Where are you shifting? You are shifting onto the stack top. E plus T star. Do you have any production rule which matches just a star?
No, ma'am.
No.
No,
Do you have
ma'am.
any production rule which matches just T star? No. Okay. You don't have any production rule like that. So what you are supposed to do?
Shift.
After shifting, you're left out with ID and
Shift,
dollar.
ma'am.
Okay. Now, since you cannot reduce any of the symbols here, the next choice or the next option is only to shift the next symbol. Which is the next symbol that is left? ID. Okay. Where are you shifting? You are
ID.
shifting onto the stack top. Okay. And my input string I've already shifted. I'm done with all the symbols here. Now check if I can reduce.
ID can be
I can
reduced
reduce.
now.
Am I getting a
ID.
handle? Yes, I have a handle which is ID. ID can be reduced to what? As we have done earlier. ID can be reduced to F. So F derives ID. Okay. Now I am replacing ID with F. And input buffer, I don't have any more symbols. Now find out, can I reduce F? If I reduce just F, what will happen?
Again, we'll get E
Ma'am.
plus T.
Ma'am, we can do one thing. No, we can reduce T star F by T itself.
Yes. Now you can make just T star F as the handle because you have the production. T derives T star F. You can just make T star F as the handle because you have the production rule reduce T star F. Okay. Now what symbols I'm having on the stack top? It is E plus
Plus T.
T. Okay. And my input buffer is empty. And now, can I reduce E plus T?
Yes, ma'am. Now we
Yes.
can.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
I can reduce E plus T to the start symbol E because my input buffer is also empty. So reduce E derives E plus T. So what will I have next? I will have the
E.
start symbol E. Okay. At the end, I'll write it here itself. E is derived to. Actually, in the next column, in the next row, you are supposed to write it as E. Okay. And you are supposed to write it as accept. Okay. The next row, you are supposed to write it as accept because you got the start symbol on the stack top. You got the start symbol on the stack top and the input buffer is also empty. Then your string is accepted. Your string is accepted. You can just add one more row where E plus T is reduced to E and your input buffer is empty and the action is accept. So this is the given grammar and this is the given input string. You are supposed to parse the input string int id comma id using shift reduce parsing. Fine. So as I have already told, the input buffer will have the string int id comma id and the stack will be empty initially with the dollar symbol. Fine. So initially the stack top has got nothing and the symbol from the input buffer should be shifted onto the stack top. Which is the first symbol?
Int.
Int. So shift int onto the stack top. So the stack top will have int and the input buffer will have just id comma id and dollar. Fine. Now, do you have a production rule which is which can be reduced?
Yes, ma'am.
Which
T.
range can be reduced? Yes.
T.
Okay. So T produces int or float. So what you can do is you can first reduce int to T. Okay. So dollar T. Now can you still more reduce T?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
You cannot, you don't have any production rules through which you can reduce T. Okay. So what's the next option? Only shift the next symbol onto the stack top. So shift, what's the next symbol? ID. Shift ID onto
ID.
the stack top. Okay. Dollar T and ID. Dollar T and ID. Now check if you can reduce. Check if you can reduce
Yes, ma'am.
the stack top. What is there on the
I-
stack top? The stack top is having just ID. The
ID.
stack top is having just ID, and now ID becomes the handle. Okay. Can
L
you
derives ID.
reduce ID to some other non-terminal symbol? Yes,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
can
L.
reduce ID to L. Okay. But what are the contents of the input buffer? Comma ID and end of the input buffer. And since I can reduce ID to L, I'll write it as reduce L derives ID. Okay.
Dollar TL.
T and L. Okay. And my stack input buffer is still having comma and ID as it is. Now, can I reduce T and L? But if
No,
I
Can.
reduce
ma'am.
T and L, what is happening?
Still it's there in input
If I
buffer.
reduce T and L, I will get the start symbol.
Start symbol.
Okay. If I get a start symbol on stack, I'll have to stop parsing. But how about the input buffer? The input buffer still has some more symbols. Okay. If it has some more symbols and the stack top is having the start symbol, then it is considered as an error. Okay. So I'll try with some more symbols, few more symbols that are present in the input buffer, and later try to decide whether it is an error or whether I can parse the string successfully. Okay. So what I do is I'll shift the next symbol onto the stack top. Shift, comma. Okay. So when I shift comma onto the stack top, I already have T and L and I'm shifting comma. Okay. Is there a production rule where I can reduce just comma? No. Is there a production rule where I can reduce L and comma?
No, ma'am.
No,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
but we can use L derive L.
No, it is continuous.
Comma ID.
Okay.
L derives
Just
L,
moment.
ID. Okay. You don't have a production rule for shifting, or you don't find a handle over here on the stack. So what I do is my next option is, okay, after shifting, what are the contents of the input buffer?
ID dollar.
Buffer is just ID. Now since I cannot reduce anything, on the stack top,
Shift.
I have only one choice, that is shift the next symbol ID onto the stack top. Shift the next symbol ID onto the stack top. When I shift it, what are the symbols on the stack? T, L, comma and ID.
ID.
Okay. Now do I have a production rule which
For
matches
L comma ID.
string?
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of replacing ID with L, okay, and then
Reduce L.
L comma ID.
I cannot come to the start symbol. Instead, I can take a substring on the stack top. What's the substring on the stack top? L comma ID. Can it be replaced with L? Can it be reduced to L?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
can be reduced to L. So what I do, I'll take all the three symbols and reduce to L once for all. Reduce L derives L comma ID. Okay. Now what is happening? Dollar T and L. Okay. This L comma ID is replaced or reduced to L, and my input buffer is empty. Okay. Now can I reduce T and L to some other symbol?
Yes.
Yes. It is yes, the start symbol. So what I do is I reduce S derives TL. Okay. So if I reduce TL to L, what will I have? I will have S.
S.
Okay. And what will I have on this input buffer?
Dollar.
Input
Dollar.
buffer is dollar, which means it is empty.
Except.
It means the stack top is having the start symbol and the input buffer is empty. It means that the string is accepted. You have come to a stage or the process where the string is completely passed successfully, and that state is called as accept state. Okay.
Yes.
For the given input string and the grammar, the stack top initially will be empty and the input buffer will have the string 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1 and terminated with the dollar symbol. Fine. So since the stack is empty, you'll have to shift one of the symbols from the input buffer onto the stack top. So which is the symbol that is present? Shift 0. Okay. So dollar followed by 0 and your input buffer will have 0, 0, 1, 1, 1 and ends with dollar. Now check the stack top. Can you replace it with the production rule?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
You don't have any production where S produces 0. So what is the next choice?
Should be
Shift to the next symbol. What's the next symbol? 0. Here on the stack top, 0 and 0. Now the input buffer will have 0, 1, 1, 1 ending with the dollar sign. Do you have a production rule to replace 0, 0? Can you reduce 0, 0? No, because you don't have a production rule at all. So what is the option? Shift the next symbol onto the stack top. Okay. When you shift the next symbol onto the stack top, it is 0, 0, 0 on the stack top. Again, check if you can reduce. No, you don't have any production rule for reducing zeros. So you are left out with 1, 1, 1 on in the input buffer. So since you cannot reduce these zeros to any of the LHS, again shift the next symbol. What's the next symbol? 1. So when you shift 1 onto the stack top, you are left out with 2 ones in the input buffer. 2 ones in the input buffer. Now see, now check. Can you reduce any of the substrings on the stack top? Yes. You have 0 and 1. So this 0 and 1 can be reduced to S. So you can reduce S
S01
to 0, 1. Now you are replacing this. These first two zeros remain as it is. You are only reducing 0 and 1 to S. Okay, and the input buffer still has 1 and 1 as it is. Now check if you can reduce any of the symbols on the stack top. Can you reduce?
No, ma'am.
No. You don't have any production which matches 0, 0S or 0, 0S. So what is the option? Shift one symbol, 1 onto the stack top. So if you shift 1 onto the stack top, you have 0, 0, yes, and 1 on the stack top, and in the input buffer you will have only
$1.
Okay. Now check the stack. Now check the stack top.
Can be reduced, ma'am.
Yes. Now you can reduce 0, yes, 1 to yes. 3 symbols become the handle now. Okay. So reduce
0,
yes to 0, yes, 1. Okay. Your 3 symbols are the handle now. So it is first symbol is 0 and the next symbol is yes. Okay. The input buffer still has 1 on it. Okay. Now check if you can still more reduce on the stack top. No. You cannot reduce. Okay. So what is the next choice or the next option? Shift whatever is there on the stack top to the
accepted
input buffer to the stack top. So if you shift the string that is present is 0, S and 1. Okay. Now, your input buffer is empty.
1.
Okay. Now check, can you reduce this 0, S1 to any other symbol? Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
you can reduce. Reduce
S0.
S to 0, S1. Okay. So when I do this, I am getting the star symbol on the stack top, and in the input buffer,
$.
I have just $, which means empty, and here I write it as accept.
Accepted.
Okay.